Before the sack record was ever set, Myles Garrett stood at the podium while history was still in reach. Fans remember the chase, but fewer remember the types of questions that started showing up as the moment got closer. Today, we're slowing one of those moments down. When fans say something feels off in a press conference, it's usually not tone or attitude, it's structure. What you're about to hear isn't unique to one player or one market. It just shows up clearly here. These questions aren't about football mechanics or performance. They're designed to make an athlete choose between team success and personal achievement. Once you hear that, you can't unhear it. Before we play this clip, notice what isn't being asked. The reporter doesn't ask Myles Garrett directly whether he values the personal sack record or winning games. Instead, the question creates a hypothetical trade that forces a moral comparison.
Myles, I'm sure you would probably give back the 4 sacks just the way you would have given back the 5 sacks if you guys could have gotten this victory. Is that right?
Did you hear it? This question isn't really about the sacks. It's about whether personal excellence is allowed to exist without apology. And notice how it's introduced. I'm sure you would trade, which subtly assumes the morally correct answer before he even speaks. That phrasing narrows the space further. No matter how Myles Garrett responds, the framing suggests that fully embracing both team success and individual achievement could sound selfish. If this happened once, you might dismiss it. But the same type of question shows up again in a different press conference framed a different way. That's how you know this is a pattern, not just a moment. The next question reaches backward in time. It takes something Myles Garrett said when he re-signed with the Browns and brings it into the present to see if his values have changed now that the sack record is close.
Hey Myles, when you went through that trade request, you said you didn't care about records, all that's the Hall of Fame, all that stuff. You just wanted to win. So with 2 games to go, and you guys are 3-12, what's it been like for you?
The question never directly says, have your values changed? But that's the tension it introduces. By revisiting what he said when he re-signed with the Browns and placing it beside the pursuit of a record, it invites the audience to wonder whether his priorities have shifted. It turns a football milestone into a quiet test of consistency. When fans say certain press conferences feel uncomfortable, this is usually what they're reacting to. It's not necessarily the tone of the player or even the content of the answer. It's the structure of the question itself. When a question is framed emotionally or built around a forced comparison, the athlete has to navigate a narrow path just to avoid looking selfish, inconsistent, or evasive. And no matter how carefully they respond, the original framing still lingers in the room. This is not about labeling the media as good or bad, and it's not about defending one locker room over another. What we're looking at is a style of questioning that shows up across sports, especially in high-pressure moments when narratives are already forming. These questions can be professional, measured, and still carry an embedded comparison that narrows the range of acceptable answers. Once you recognize that structure, the tension fans feel makes more sense. You don't have to choose a side to see it. You just have to listen for how the question is built. From now on, listen differently. When you hear a question framed as a trade like, would you give up the sack record for a win? Or a comparison like, which matters more? Or even a callback to something said months ago like, you once said records didn't matter. Pause for a moment. Ask yourself what the question is requiring before the answer even begins. Because in press conferences, the story doesn't usually start with the response. It often starts with the way the question is built. This is Press Room Breakdown, where we slow the room down and study how the message gets made.